Are you ready to move your career forward? Make your comeback with Purdue Global and get college credit for your work, school life, or military experiences. With these credits, you may have already completed up to 75% of your undergraduate degree. You've worked hard to get where you are. It's time to get the recognition you deserve and earn a degree you'll be proud of, one that employers will trust and respect. When you take the next step in your life and career, make it count with Purdue Global, Purdue's online university for working adults. Start your comeback at purdueglobal.edu.
Before there was internet fraud and phone scams, there were always swindlers. Female swindlers too. Discover the stories of women from the past who not only survived but thrived as con artists and thieves. How did they use their feminine characteristics to swindle in a world where men made the rules? Join me, Lucy Worsley, historian and author, and my all-female team in Lady Swindlers, wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, from Wonder Media Network, I'm Jenny Kaplan, and this is Womanica. This month we're talking about go-getters, women who purposefully, or sometimes accidentally, acquired life-changing wealth, good fortune, or influence. Today we're talking about a woman who was born a peasant and died Empress of Russia. Meet Catherine I. Very little is known about Catherine I's early life. It's believed that she was born Marta Skavronska in 1684. When she was 3 years old, her parents died of the plague, and she was raised by a Lutheran pastor. Marta lived a quiet life in Marienburg in modern-day Latvia. Since she was born into a low social status, she did not receive an education and couldn't read or write. When she was 17 years old, Marta married a Swedish soldier. At the time, Russia was at war with Sweden over control of the Baltic region. During this conflict, Russian forces took over Marta's town. There are conflicting accounts about how Marta got from Marienburg to Russia, but eventually she became part of the household of a well-known statesman. That could have been the end of Marta's story, but fate had something different in store for her. The statesman was a close confidant of the Tsar, Peter I. Marta and Peter met and eventually became lovers. Marta was no longer a peasant, she was the Tsar's mistress. Soon after, she converted to Peter's Orthodox faith. Upon her baptism, she took the name Catherine. As Catherine, she joined the Tsar on many of his trips. She was used to the hardships of travel and could sleep on the ground with little complaint. But life with Peter wasn't just military treks and sleeping in tents. Catherine was gifted fine jewels and silk dresses. She enjoyed the luxuries of being royal while retaining her good humor. Throughout their relationship, Catherine became Peter's source of comfort when he was sick, and her lap was a trusted place for him to rest. By 1712, Peter and Catherine were married. In 1724, she was officially named Empress. On May 7, 1724, Catherine was crowned in the Assumption Cathedral in Moscow. The procession began in the morning. Catherine, adorned in a blue gown, was followed by her ladies-in-waiting holding her train. Her headdress, covered in pearls and other precious stones, glittered in the light. After being blessed by bishops, Catherine's husband placed her crown on her head. At that moment, the peasant officially became royalty. Catherine and Peter had 12 children, most of whom did not live past childhood. 2 of their children reached adulthood, both of whom were women. Peter died in 1725 before naming his heir. Without a male heir, Catherine ascended to the Russian throne. Catherine declared she would continue the policies and rules set by her husband. But a year into her reign, Catherine created the Supreme Privy Council as the new governing body. Catherine died in 1727 and was buried next to her husband in St. Petersburg. Before she died, she named Peter's grandson as heir. Though she was not on the throne for long, Catherine's reign was a sign of change in Russian leadership. For a large part of the 18th century, Russia was ruled by women instead of men, and Catherine was the first. All month, we're talking about go-getters. For more information, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Womanica Podcast. Special thanks to Liz Kaplan, my favorite sister and co-creator. Talk to you tomorrow.
Before there was internet fraud and phone scams, there were always swindlers. Female swindlers too. Discover the stories of women from the past who not only survived but thrived as con artists and thieves. How did they use their feminine characteristics to swindle in a world where men made the rules? Join me, Lucy Worsley, historian and author, and my all-female team in Lady Swindlers, wherever you get your podcasts.
It's hard to read the news these days without asking yourself, how did we get here? Fiasco is a history podcast from the co-creators of Slow Burn. In our first season, Bush v. Gore, we examine an unmistakable turning point in American politics, the 2000 election, which resulted in a high-stakes stalemate and ended with one of the most controversial rulings in Supreme Court history. So if you're trying to make sense of the present moment, check out Fiasco, Bush v. Gore. Listen on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.